Good morning, distance learners. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm going to walk you through how we're going to complete our assignment for today. One of the things I always encourage my students to do before they start a big writing project or any lengthy thing beyond a paragraph that you're going to write is to outline, which basically means to plan and organize your essay in advance. So when it's time to sit down and write the actual draft, it will flow a little easier and you already know what you're going to say. So today I'm going to be walking you through the type of writing that we're going to be doing, and then I'm going to show you how to complete this outline. First, though, let me tell you what you're going to be writing about. This past week, we've looked at an informational text on the process of the legal immigration system in the United States based off of the plot point in our last story, Names / Nombres, and how this girl and her family immigrated to the United States from the Dominican Republic. So we are going to look at this topic as we write our informational essay today. So the prompt is, write a 5-paragraph informational essay explaining how the United States immigration process works for children who are born in the United States and how their citizenship affects their families. So in this case here, we're looking at children who may have been born and therefore are granted citizenship because they were born in the United States, but perhaps may not or are not their family members, or not all of their family members, were born in the United States or have been granted visas. So this is the topic that we're going to be looking up and researching today. Before we start looking at the outline process itself, though, I do want to briefly remind you guys, this is the article that we looked at this week and last week. It's the informational article that briefly overlined or overviews the main points of immigration in the United States and how they're done. And that will be a helpful example for you in regards to the way that we should write an informational essay. All right, so what you're going to do for this informational writing, obviously, I don't expect you to know all of this stuff about this topic. So you're going to need to do some research and some Googling. Thankfully, though, I have prepared some resources in advance for you to use so that you can do this and you don't have to search for everything on your own. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to this tab. It's linked under today, Thursday. It says Immigration Process Sources for Informational Writing. So I have linked 5 websites here that overview this or give information on the topic of the prompt here. And you guys are going to need to browse these to find a way or to find the information so that you can explain the prompt and then also be able to cite or find text evidence for your essay from these websites. All right, let's go ahead and look at our overview. Let's look at our overview for the outline itself. All right, so an outline is, like I mentioned, a brief organizational strategy that you can use to help you plan your essay in advance. So what you're going to do to turn this in is you're going to copy and paste this area right here, and you're going to copy it and then paste it into the submission box, and then you're going to add in your own information where these lines are. Okay, since you're virtual, you will need to add the information on top of the lines. You cannot just turn this in blank. What you're going to do is you're going to come up with a brief description of how you'd like to start or introduce your essay after doing your research from those links that I just went over. An idea of how you can do that is by using a hook, and one of the main ways that is especially helpful for when writing an informational essay is to ask questions to get your reader thinking. Have you ever considered how, or did you know that? Those are some stems or ways that you could start a question in your introduction. And then you're going to explain either the first part of your essay, and then you're going to discuss what question that you're going to be answering in this first part here, and then you would put in this part right here the article and the evidence that you will be using, and that's going to come from these sources that I've already pre-prepared for you. Let me clarify something though. Whenever we are where is it? Go over how to cite evidence in a second. But whenever we're writing an informational essay, we want to turn our prompt into questions. And that's what this part of the outline is referring to here. Question number 1, question number 2, number 3. So if we look at our prompt, we're looking at how the process works for children who are born in the United States and how their citizenship affects their families. When I start planning my essay, I want to ask questions about that prompt. Some of these questions might be things like, what is the United States immigration system? That would be the first thing that you would need to explain in order for the context of the question to make sense. Another question that I might ask is, how does where a child is born impact their citizenship? That would be a question that I would answer and explain. And then number 3, how does it impact the child's family and their immigration status? That would be this third question that I would think of. You can change these questions and put different ones if you'd like. However, this part right here is these question blanks are what I'm referring to when I say questions to research. Turn your prompt into questions that you can answer in your essay, because your job in this essay is to explain and give information. All right. And then the last thing I need to go over with you is how to cite evidence. Whenever we're citing evidence, it's absolutely super important that we put quotation marks when we're pulling direct quotes or taking the words from a source. Let's look at an example here. This first one says, Wordsworth stated that romantic poetry was marked by, and this is where I'm taking his words, so I put quotation marks to indicate that, by a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings, end quotations. When we're when we're quoting things from a website, we want to either put, if it's like a book, we would put the page number, but if it were a website or an article, we could put the paragraph number here. So if it was in paragraph number 3, I would put paragraph number 3 in parentheses and then the period. And then you can see a couple other examples here where it directly quotes. And then if you want to pause the video to look closer at these, you can. Another way you can do it is by just paraphrasing it in your own words and not using a direct quote, as it does in this third example. However, if you want to use a direct quote from the website, which I highly encourage, make sure you use quotation marks. All right, and the last thing is your conclusion. In your conclusion, all you do is you sum up the things that you've discussed in your article. It would be a really good place to restate your main idea and your main topic that you're explaining in this essay. All right, so if you have any questions about how to do this outline, please let me know, and I'll be happy to help you.